What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Moose Milk Podcast. This is episode 98.
What up? This is weird that we both start at the same time together.
I know. I don't got to say, we're just going to wait for
Gonna wait for Matt.
And he's not here yet, and Instagram won't let him join. No, we're good. We don't have that problem anymore.
That's funny.
So this week, obviously, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Episode 1 from HBO. But before we get to that, how was your week, my friend?
My week was insanely busy. We had a little family emergency. So Kate went with her mom to New York on Monday.
Yep.
They're supposed to come back on Thursday. And on Tuesday night, Kate's grandma, who is 90 tomorrow, slipped and broke her hip.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks.
And was like on the floor from like 4 a.m. till 7 till her care worker came in.
Is she okay?
Yeah, long story short, she's good now, but she had to get surgery on Wednesday, emergency surgery on Wednesday.
Fuck.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm
sorry to hear that. That's fucking rough.
Yeah. So it's been lots of navigations to and from Twassen. And yeah.
That's scary as shit. And like, there's nothing more scary than like not being able to do something, like your body just won't cooperate for you to get up or something like that. Like, I mean, obviously not on the same scale, but I'm having massive back issues, as I just told you, and like it took me 15 minutes to get off the couch, and like that's scary. It's just like when your body will not cooperate with what you want to do. It's like, I don't like this. I don't like getting old. It terrifies me, man.
I'm with you there. It's weird that how so much slower your body like comes back from things and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty grateful that I don't have any real like body pain issues on a regular basis, but it's like like even just like my knees and shit. Totally. Like whenever I have to do these shelves, fuck, man, it's brutal. Yeah.
Well, it's me.
Like when I'm on the floor, it kills me to get up.
Yeah, that's me too. Yeah. Totally. It's even like just like simple things, like you just don't even realize it and you twist the wrong way and you're like, well, that's it for my shoulder for this week. Yeah. Great. You know, it's brutal. I hate it. Back in the day, like, you know, we'd go out till 3 a.m. fucking drinking, go to work in the morning, be fine, no hangover. Now I have a beer and I'm hungover for 3 days. It's great.
I mean, I don't really drink enough to get drunk, so I don't either
anymore.
I can't say for sure if that would still be the case for me, but But the one thing that hasn't changed for me is like I still don't require like sleep. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know how you do it. I look like I haven't slept in like a week and a half. Like
that is incorrect.
Generally speaking, I mean, but yeah, like I still can do like, 5 hours hurts, but like really, like I only probably get 4 hours of like good sleep a night. If
I don't
probably
get 7, I'm like terrible.
Fucked.
Like I'm a miserable fucking asshole the entire day. So
yeah, that's Kate too. Kate too. She's just not good. Like even tonight, like I left. So I went to Twassen tonight because Kate hasn't seen I went to the hospital on Thursday and saw her there. But she hasn't seen Homer like all week, right? And like she's kind of like really emotional with all this stuff, and like
of course
Homer's like her comfort blanket, right? So, but like I'm so behind on that.
I got one too.
Little Finny. But I'm so behind on that secret commission that I'm working on that like I literally need like every night. Like she was like, "Can you come over Saturday and stay Saturday night?" And I'm like, I honestly I can't. Like I can't afford to lose one night at this point. Like I have to have it finished and photographed by Wednesday. And it's like it's tight, man. I'll be up tonight till like 5 a.m.
Well, if you need a friendly meme friend, I can send you memes throughout the night to keep you awake.
No, I don't want distractions. Those are the worst things for me.
Okay, so only topless nipple pictures. I got it.
That's right. Only nip pics. I only want nip pics.
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect.
Man, I watched so much shit this week though with Kate being gone. I mean, by my standards, usually for me, I have watched like 1 or 2 things.
Well, dive into it, brother.
Yeah. This week I watched, so last week on Sunday, kind of got into the Jim Carrey spirit, and I watched, and we watched Liar Liar over at Kate's parents' house.
Good movie.
Great movie, man. Fucking love that movie.
So do I.
And then to carry on with the Jim Carrey stuff, I ended up watching Cable Guy. As I was flipping through Netflix, I saw that Cable Guy comes off Netflix on the 31st.
Oh,
in
really?
Canada anyway. So I was like, oh man, I've been meaning to. I really want to watch The Mask, but I haven't really looked
streaming
around
anywhere. I've looked everywhere.
Yeah, so I might just buy it. Like I've kind of been doing that on the Apple app, like the Apple Movies or whatever. Totally. I've been like buying stuff that like I re-frequent. So like another one I was looking for last week that I couldn't find anywhere was Van Wilder. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it. It's like $5 or $6, and then I don't have to worry about where it's streaming and shit, right? I've done that with a lot of like my holiday movies and stuff too.
Totally.
Because it's just like I always go back to them and I can never find them. So
my friend Chris like did that for everything. Like he's like, I'm not buying DVDs or Blu-rays ever again. I'm just gonna buy everything digitally when I want to see it, and then it's there forever. Hopefully, like I mean, unless the internet goes away or fucking Google or whatever dies, but it's a way to do it because like I was buying Blu-rays in 4K Blu-rays like constantly, and you usually get like a digital code with it. So I was doing it that way where I could just add the digital code to my library, but now it's like I'm not buying all these things physically. They're all streaming eventually, and I just forget it. It's not worth it. The thing is
it's another expense for something that you don't need. So
100%. I have enough movies.
Because you haven't. And the thing is like I have tons of movies too, but like it's inconvenient for me to watch it. Like I can't watch it in here because I don't have a DVD player. I have DVDs, but it's also inconvenient to have to get up, get what you want. Like, yeah, exactly. So it's like, I just don't see the point in physical media. I used to buy all the MCU stuff and I stopped at like phase 2, like in the middle of phase 2, I think.
I have everything up to Shang-Chi, but I'm not buying anymore. I'm
doesn't make sense. Jordan from Canada, my friend, says Jim Carrey can't do wrong in my book. His scenes look hilarious in the last Sonic movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't either.
It is a movie I meant to get to just because I'm such a Jim Carrey fan and like I've seen basically everything he's done. So
I like Jim Carrey a lot. I like Yes Man. Yes Man reminds me a lot of like old school Jim Carrey.
Totally. And fucking what's her face in that movie is awesome, and Emily Deschanel is awesome.
Yeah, she is. Too. Yeah, she is.
What is your favorite Jim Carrey movie? I don't even know if I know this.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. It's a good question.
I think if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Liar Liar.
That's good.
I think. But I mean, I love like Ace Ventura 1 like a lot.
So do I. I actually like the second one better than the first one, but
I don't. I like the first one better.
I would go I'd probably go Truman Show.
Truman Show's amazing too.
But like if I was going like overall best movie, I would probably go Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Right. I should rewatch that movie. I've seen it a few times, but oh man, how did I even forget Dumb and Dumber? Dumb and Dumber's got to be up there too, man. It's too hard to pick a favorite with him. The thing is like even his not good ones are good. Like
totally. I wish like him and Adam Sandler would go back to like classic like comedy movies that they used to do. Yeah. Like I know it's hard because they're both like in their 50s and they're just whatever, but like I don't know. I would love. I've said this. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or not, but I've said it to my friends and stuff a bunch of times that like it would be perfect for Adam Sandler to do like a Happy Gilmore sequel. And I know generally comedy sequels suck, but like the premise could be so easy of like him later in life wanting to have an actual hockey career, and like he did golf the entire like whatever his entire adulthood, and now he's like, this is my last shot at actually playing in like hockey or whatever, and then like reverse that whole thing of like him trying to get into hockey or like him realizing he's too old and like trying to
I don't know if you could do that. Not at this point. I mean, the thing is like it doesn't even make sense career wise. Like now that you're older, you decide to play hockey. It's like hockey is like so fucking rough on your body.
I know, but
like, you know what? It's time I settle down a bit. I'm gonna stop playing golf and I'm gonna start playing hockey.
Or he has like a kid and he's like, I can teach you how to shoot.
I can see that.
then like it turns out that like Shooter McGavin's also like a coach on like an opposing team or something. Like I don't know. You could do lots of things with it. I'm just spitballing here. I mean, not all of them are going to be gems.
I get it. I understand.
But yeah, I don't know. I would love to see them return to like old school comedy, like early '90s, mid '90s comedies.
Well, I can tell you that I haven't seen Cable Guy in forever, and like I do like Cable Guy a lot. I know a lot of people don't, but like
it's fine.
There's something. Yeah, it's an interesting character that he plays. Totally. This weird fucking crazy stalker cable guy. It's like, yeah, and it's just good. I really like it. So yeah, so I'm glad I watched that. And then, like I said, I ended up buying Van Wilder.
Van Wilder's good.
I fucking love Van Wilder. I love Ryan Reynolds in that. It's like Ryan Reynolds the movie.
That's based off of Bert Kreischer.
It is?
Yeah.
The movie's based off Bert?
The character of Van Wilder is based off of Bert Kreischer, from what I've read, is that because Bert Kreischer was like 7 years in college or university or something, and like he was just like a party animal, and that's like I guess what Van Wilder's based off of. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing! I didn't know that. Jordan from Canada said my brother and I had such high expectations for Ace Ventura 2. We were disappointed. I saw it again, almost died laughing. I should go back and watch it too, because like to me, like I don't really have a lot of attachment to Ace Ventura 2, but like the first one is like my jam. Like I could probably say it by heart because we watched that tape a million times.
Second one is like one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. I think it's way better than the first one, but
interesting. I bet I'd probably die laughing too if I watched it now.
That was me with Austin Powers. Is I was too young to understand it when I first seen it.
Yeah.
And then watching it again, like a little bit as I grew a little bit older, like all the sex jokes and everything like that, like totally was over my head when I first seen it. And then then I finally caught onto it, and I was like, oh, this movie's fucking funny as hell.
So yeah, so that's cool. I didn't know that about Van Wilder, but yeah, I freaking love that movie. Not only do I love Ryan Reynolds, but I love the guy who plays Taj. What's his name? I can't remember.
Why do we do this every episode?
I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter.
Let's remember a guy's name. Neither of us are ever going to remember it. It's not possible.
Taj. It's Taj.
Yeah, it's Taj.
That's the guy. He's so fucking funny. Oh my god.
We're not professionals.
I like when he's like interviewing for the job, and he's like explaining what he wants to do, and
yeah,
he's like, air dry that shit.
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, movie's great.
Cal Penn. Cal Penn.
Yeah.
Had Van Wilder on PSP. Yeah, man, I love it's so good. So now I have it because I freaking love that movie. It's great.
Oh yeah.
And then what else did I watch? Speaking of Austin Powers, I watched Austin Powers 2.
Weird.
I know. It showed up in like my Netflix feed after I was watching Cable Guy actually, and I was like, oh sure, let's watch this.
I like the second one a lot. I hated the third one.
I don't mind. There's things about the third one that I like. Like I love Goldmember. Like Goldmember makes me fucking cry laughing. But yeah, I think it's the weakest of the three. But I just love Goldmember. Like I like how he does like the double kick and both his feet come out of him.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably go back and watch that movie again too, because it's one that I never really go back to. But
shit.
I love the first two movies.
I wonder if that one's on Netflix too. Shit is, I'll be probably putting that on tonight.
Perfect.
Oh god, that's so funny. I am from Holland. Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
And then I also watched Bad Batch this week, and it was fine. It's whatever. Oh, I also watched something you watched too. But Bad Batch. Sorry, before I do that, Bad Batch is just whatever. This season is just kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's not getting great reviews from what I've seen. People seem pretty down on it.
The last episode that didn't have the Bad Batch guys in it was the best episode so far, which is weird because it didn't have the main characters in it. But it was kind of all about the bad guy of the series, or like the clone that like left the group and is now with the Empire.
Right.
So like it built that character a lot. It was really good. But so far, like the main team, it's been kind of whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It from what I've seen, people aren't too high on it. So,
plus I don't like the new costumes. That's
fair.
And then I also tonight, actually, while I was at Kate's parents' house, we watched a good chunk of that '90s show. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into because I watched the whole series.
We can just segue into that if you'd like, because that's all I watched. I also watched Last of Us, which we're going to talk about in a few. But.
Sure. Yeah, that 90s show. So it's 10 episodes. It just came out on Thursday. They're about 20 to 30 minutes each episode. It has moments where, I love that 70s show except for the last season. Like that was one of my favorite sitcoms as a teenager. This has moments where it tries to be that 70s show, and it has moments where it's trying to do something new.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be a lot more nostalgic for me, where like there would be a lot of like 90s references, and it just didn't have that like heartstring pull for me. Like it
doesn't really play to the era. Like that 70s show really did, but that 90s show so far, I haven't seen it all. I think I'm up to the 5th episode, I think. So
there are some references, like they reference 90210 a lot. Batman Forever gets referenced at one point. Like there's a few things that like definitely get referenced that are like mid 90s, but they reference Clerks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But like I don't know, the main cast just doesn't really gel for me either. Like they feel very the main actress who plays Topher Grace and Eric and Donna's daughter.
Donna.
She's fine. I like her probably the best out of anybody, but like I just didn't feel like she gelled with the rest of the cast really. Like I felt the like whole romance angle with Kelso and Jackie's son kind of just didn't really go anywhere, and I felt like they had no chemistry at all. It's fine. There's a lot of like callbacks and there's a lot of like the original cast, coming back and whatever. But I'm seeing a lot of people like complaining about that. And I'm like, well, that's the strong suit of the show. Like that's what you want is like callbacks to that 70s show. And especially when you're playing up that these are the kids of those casts, like why would you not want them as parents and the fumbling moron that Kelso is like trying to be a dad? Like that's the point of the show. But Red and Kitty are awesome in it. Like,
they are great.
They're the best.
They're definitely the standout. Yeah, I was gonna say they're definitely the standout for me too.
Totally. So, but yeah, it's fine. If you were that 70s show fan, I'll recommend it to you. But like, if you weren't, this isn't gonna do much for you. I don't think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much land exactly where you land. It's like, and again, I haven't seen it all, so like, I can't really say entirely. But yeah, I've gotten about halfway through the season and it's just like it's fine. You get a couple jokes in here that are fun, like genuinely actually funny, and then there's just a lot of like sitcom humor where it's like,
I feel the same
way. Predictable, I guess. I don't know.
And like I don't know if it's just because of the time or what, but like the laugh track for me just ruins the comedy. I hate laugh tracks in shows now.
It's just weird because you can tell it's a laugh track and not a studio like a live.
It doesn't feel like it is. Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't what? Sorry?
I don't know if it is or not. Like but it doesn't.
It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like it is. If it is, I'd be surprised because it doesn't feel like that's in front of an actual audience. Like, don't feel like they're benefiting from the crowd in any way. So it kind of makes me believe that they probably are doing it to a laugh track, not an actual.
Jordan from Canada says, I know nothing about that 90s show, just a thumbnail with Eric's parents. So it's about their kids with them as parents. That's interesting. So basically the whole premise is like Eric and Donna don't live in Point Place anymore. And their daughter goes to spend the summer with Red and Kitty and makes friends with the kids in the neighborhood, basically the same way Eric did when he was a teenager. So like they're hanging out in Red and Kitty's basement again, but it's all like Kelso's son is in it. And then like, Donna's old house has a new family living in it, and like the kids there.
One of the kids there, or the kid, both the brother and the sister.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of got similar elements, and it's got callbacks definitely from that to that 70s show. But
it's just got like the brother and his girlfriend, and they're always making out. It's like pretty similar to like to Michael and Jackie from back in the day, right? So.
Yeah, and I mean they're smoking pot and stuff again, and like they do the camera in the middle of the table and zooming around to each four-person, But a lot of callbacks like that. But it needs another couple seasons, I think, for the cast to really gel together.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's ultimately where it loses itself. Is like you don't have that chemistry like that original cast did. And
Totally.
like, I think I think it would do better. It would fare better if it really embraced the fact that it was playing in the 90s. Like,
yes,
I think that would go a long way.
Weird to me that they picked 95 to start it in, even though like I know the original show I think started in 75, but they ran into the problem of like they went on for whatever 8 seasons forever. I think it is, and they're like, oh, so these seasons all take place in like 1978, and it's like, well, if you started in 1991, then it gives you more road.
Then you have 10 years, yeah.
And you could have done so much with like the grunge movement in the early 90s and like Nirvana and like all this stuff.
It would be fun to watch them like go through stylistically like the 90s, because the 90s, man, had some pretty crazy style.
Yeah, totally. But I guess it like timeline, it wouldn't work out because the kids are supposed to be 15, 16. So they had to kind of set it in like 95, 96.
Yeah. It's a good point, Jordan.
Yeah, totally.
That
totally
70s cast had great chemistry. They're stars of the early 2000s.
Yeah. And obviously, like, Hyde has no part in it because Danny Masterson's got a lot of criminal charges against him. So he's not going to be a part of the show in any way. And, like, Hyde was my favorite character in the original show. So, yeah, it kind of misses that element. But obviously, fuck that guy for everything that he's accused of if he's actually guilty of it.
Amen, brother. Amen.
But anyway, yeah, so I watched all that. And then I watched another, like, season and a half of Friends.
Jeez.
And I don't
know.
I'm hooked. So I'm in season 6, somewhere in season 6 now. Season 5 is awesome. Season 5 is the best season of that show for sure. But
I watched more Always Sunny too.
I love Always Sunny, but I haven't watched any this week.
I'm in season 13 right now.
Very nice. It's definitely coming back soon. So a couple months. Probably.
Yeah, they were saying on the podcast that they have like 16 days to finish writing basically the rest of the season.
Yeah,
so they're really behind. So
seems like that will probably come out in like March or April. But yeah, stoked. They did have a That 80s Show for a short time, totally different cast in Lasso. Yeah, I remember that. I watched the first episode. It was with Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, what up, Marcus E? So I haven't watched that 90s show, but the general idea just reminds me of Girl Meets World, and I think Saved by the Bell spinoff series that came out recently. Yeah, it's kind of in the same. I mean, I didn't see either of those, but I remember reading about what people were saying about it, and in a way, I would say it maybe plays to like the strengths of that 70s a bit better than the other ones were received, but
it's hard, right? Because like everything's a pull on nostalgia right now. Is like they know that our age bracket.
That's what sells, right? That's what works.
So
that's like Stranger Things, right? I mean, Stranger Things is cool, but like a component of what makes it so cool is that it's like, hey, this is like when you were a kid, you freaking 80s kids.
Yeah, I think that's like, I mean, I think we're gonna see remakes of almost all the 80s stuff in that early 90s stuff like very soon. Like, it would not shock me if we see a complete Terminator reboot.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Jurassic Park reboot, like it would not. These are all things that are definitely going to come.
Yeah.
Girl Meets World. I think I seen the first episode, and I loved Boy Meets World, but
big fan.
It just did not hook me at all. I don't know. So
the thing is I usually don't give those things a chance because I know it's not going to do what the original did for me. Because even watching some of the original stuff now, it doesn't hit the same as it did.
No.
It's like I tried to like do a rewatch on Full House when it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but like I got maybe like I don't know a couple seasons in, and I was just like, it kind of lost me. Like I just kind of stopped caring.
I watched
the nostalgia for it wore off.
I watched the first season of Fuller House, and it was just, I couldn't get into it.
Fuller House is kind of what gives me the same vibe as this too, right? It's like I try to do the similar thing, but it just doesn't really hit.
Yeah.
The thing is you can't recreate some of that magic, right? Like some of it's just like right place, right time, luck. Yep. So it's like it's hard to recreate that feeling in a different world. So,
Marcus E, I have a wish that I know won't happen, and will make absolutely no sense. But a prequel miniseries to Welcome Back, Kotter called Sweat Hogs. I've never seen Welcome Back, Kotter, so
I haven't either. I don't even know what that is. it?
It's a sitcom from I think the 80s, maybe late 70s. I'm not positive, but
the thing is like you could like you never know, man. You just that's the thing is nowadays you never fucking know.
Yeah, man. I definitely think that. Oh yeah, same. Boy Meets World every Friday for me for like 10 years. TGIF was like humongous for me.
Same here.
Like
Urkel.
Yeah, Family Matters, Step by Step, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like I watched all those shows as like between I don't know, being 7 and 10 or 11. I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I just watched those things, and then I can't think of anything else. I think that's it. I've been listening to a ton of music. Like I've been on a music craze. So I went through like
listening to. Last week I meant to mention that I was listening to Alkaline Trio because of you. Because
so
you
much Alkaline Trio.
Have you moved to different albums now?
I love Crimson and
I don't love Crimson.
I know you hate Crimson. I don't know why. To me, it's their best album by far.
Like Good Morning is probably my favorite.
I love Good Morning too.
But I also really like From Here to Infirmatory too. But I think if I had to pick one, I think it would be Good Morning.
Good Morning would be number 2 for me. I love Good Morning as well. But
I do not like Crimson at all.
I don't know. It's so good and it's so like Good Morning. It's like a sequel to Good Morning.
I don't know why. I just never did it for me.
That's weird. But yeah, so I listened to like a shit ton of Alkaline Trio for like all month for like 3 weeks straight. I just killed every album. And then
is there anything you don't touch from them? Like you probably don't do any of the more recent stuff, right?
No, I love all the recent stuff too.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so do I.
The only album I don't really like is their first album.
God Damn It?
Is it God Damn It?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only album I don't like love.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I understand that.
Yeah,
that was when they were more like punk and less like Alkaline Trio.
Totally. It's like brand new for me. It doesn't match the rest of the albums.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Fall Out Boy put out a new song this week.
I listened to it.
What did you think?
The thing is, like, Fall Out Boy hasn't made an impression on me for like. But it's once they got like radio big, I was just, I don't know. It didn't really catch me, to be honest. So.
I mean, they got radio big after their second album.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, you know, even like Infinity on High, like I kind of started like dipping after that.
I mean, this song reminded me exactly of like Infinity on High / Folie à Deux, like era Fall Out Boy.
I remember particularly not liking the last few albums they put out. So,
see, I mean, I love every single album by them. So yeah, like I'm excited because I like new music and I'll check it out regardless. The song didn't blow me away or anything. Like it wasn't like, oh man, this is their new big fucking slammer. But
well, like Joe's not playing with them. He's taking a break, isn't he?
He did this album though. He's on this album. He's just
he's on the album. He's just not going to tour.
He's not touring at all.
Cool. That's cool.
But anyway, so that threw me down a Fall Out Boy rabbit hole, and I've listened to every album this week and just been going through their discography.
I tried to go back to Infinity on High and the one before it that I can't remember the name of. Under the tree or whatever. Cork Tree. But I mean, I kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of lost my love for Fall Out Boy once they weren't like my band anymore, my little band anymore.
Totally.
Which is weird because you don't generally do that, but in this circumstance, it was just, I don't know.
Jordan from Canada says music's beautiful. Got to get back to Spotify. Where do you guys get your music these days? Spotify, Apple, Pandora. I'm a huge Spotify guy. Like
Me too.
I love Spotify. I think the app is problematic at times for me because at work I get no cell phone signal at all, so I have to have everything downloaded on my phone that I want to listen to, and the app goes fucking crazy if you don't have internet. Like things don't work, it disconnects, it breaks, you got to restart it. Like it's a pain in the ass. So I wish they would fix that. But
Android.
Yeah, well, it's Spotify.
I'm just kidding.
It's totally Spotify. It's not nothing. My phone sucks though. My phone's a pile of shit. Like I need a new phone desperately. It's fucking terrible. But
I'm loving my new phone.
That's sweet. I can't wait to get one sometime this summer. And I know I said I wasn't going to get one, but like I can't go without Spotify. I listen to so much music.
Spotify is nice because I used to be all about having the the actual files. And don't get me wrong, like there's things that piss me off about Spotify. Like in particular, there's an exact situation that this is happening to me right now. I kind of got on this little Panic at the Disco kick a while ago, and I was really wanted to listen to a couple songs off of Vices and Virtues.
Yeah.
But when I went to go and get them, they're not available on Spotify. You can see them, but they're blacked out.
New Found Glory.
Yes, that's right.
That what's that album? I can't even think of it right now.
Catalyst.
Not available on Spotify in Canada, but it's available in the States.
Yep.
Fucking pisses me off. That's one of my favorite New Found Glory albums.
It's very annoying. So I actually still use my Apple Music app, to put MP3s on, because I also have a bunch of because I used to be in the local music scene, as Brian would know. So I have a bunch of stuff that isn't on Spotify from bands that I used to love.
Sure.
That I just can't get, right. So I'm still pretty good at keeping the MP3 files on my phone where needed.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I still do that to a certain degree, but yeah, with all modern, anything that comes out now, I kind of set up a few playlists where it's if I put the stuff into that playlist, it downloads it for me. So that way I can not have to use data for music and shit. So
yeah. I still collect vinyl too. So if I really like an album, I'll buy the vinyl of it. But mostly Spotify for me too.
Same. Spotify's where it's at.
But yeah, so I've been listening to a lot of Fall Out Boy and pop punk,
nice.
And it's just, I don't know, it's getting me through the shitty weather in January. And
is it cold there?
No, it's actually been really warm, but it just has rained fucking literally every day for a week, pretty much. So it's been really annoying.
Jordan from Canada says YouTube Music is good too. I should try Apple for a little bit. I'm addicted to making playlists and interrupting them with random songs. I just like Spotify because I feel it's pretty good at giving suggestions to me for things too, right? When it does kind of start adding its own stuff in, usually it's stuff that fits in, and it's I don't even realize that I didn't put it on the playlist.
Totally.
So I feel they're pretty good at picking up what I'm putting down. So yeah, I like it. But I don't like Apple's interface for music. The only thing I do like about it is I like that it has the history, because I'm a guy, I listen to a lot of shuffle with my music, and sometimes something will come on and I'll be like, fuck, what was that song that came on? I was driving and I want to now add it to my playlist so I hear it more regularly. So I like on Apple Music, you can actually see your history of what you've listened to. So gotcha. But other than that, I find the interface is not very user friendly.
Yeah, well, who would have thought it's an Apple product?
Ooh, sick burn.
I love that we're just throwing digs at each other's shit.
At each other.
Yeah. We should get into fucking Last of Us.
One more Jordan from Canada comment. He said, "Do you guys miss the music video shows and countdowns? I grew up on that. Another casualty of the internet, but I love YouTube."
I never had cable growing up because I was fucking pretty, I don't know, sheltered, I guess, in a way, or I don't know. My mom didn't have money for cable, so I never had MTV or much music or anything like that. So most music videos outside of very select ones I've never seen.
Crazy. I'm with Jordan. I grew up on the weekly countdowns, and there was a time when I was very on the pulse when it came to music. Even stuff that I didn't really listen to, I was pretty good at kind of knowing what was taking over the radios, and
I do radio
music videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really miss it, to be honest. Even when bands I like put out music videos now, 9 times out of 10 I don't even look. I don't care.
The only
it's just it's not the same anymore. Even it's there's that small window of music videos from the 90s into the early 2000s, late 90s into the 2000s, where it's everyone was putting so much into their music videos, and it's just trying to be something different than what it is now, and it's just it's I think of Blink, right? I know that they did a lot of stupid stuff, but it was it's pretty it's fun to have an idea. Or Foo Fighters are another one who man, great music videos, tells kind of a story. Korn's another really good one. Yeah, for sure.
Korn had awesome music videos back in the day.
They sure did. Limp Bizkit? No, I'm just kidding.
The only videos I watch now are Paramore, just because I'm in love with Hayley Williams. Other than that,
Creep.
Like, yeah, I'm a total creep. I don't care if she's beautiful. I'll watch anything she does. But yeah, other than that, I don't watch music videos at all anymore. But
yeah,
radio I listened to the radio constantly growing up as like a teenager.
Me too.
89X was like 89X. Our local fucking rock station.
Jordan, did you get 89X where you were? I can't remember if it went all the way up to Toronto area.
But I think he wouldn't have known Riff either. But
Jordan,
Riff,
I think, is probably in our age group. I would assume. Sounds like it.
But yeah, so I knew all the like radio singles and shit that was going on. But
yeah,
music videos I was out on. Last of Us. So
yeah, we watched it.
I'm super into the video game. I've played both video games. The first one I've played like 3 times, I think. The second one I've only played through about a time and a half. But Matt obviously hasn't played them because he's not a big gamer. So he's looking at it at a very newbie perspective. So please don't spoil the game in any way, or the show future.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this other than what Ryan's told me about it. So,
the Edge. I went to Edge
Fest.
Yeah,
the Edge. Yeah,
I went to Edge Fest twice, maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Was Edge Fest the one that was in Sarnia? No, it was Bayfest.
Edge Fest was the ones I went to were at the Molson Amphitheater.
Right.
But yeah,
it was like Eve 6. Didn't like they headline Edge Fest one year?
I don't know. I know.
Come on, Ryan.
I know.
You're slipping.
I know Our Lady Peace did because I've seen them, and I can't remember who else. I've seen Our
Lady Peace did, but I don't know if Eve 6 did.
I wasn't in Eve 6, man. Why would I know?
I went to Edge Fest.
I'm gonna kill you. Who played Warped Tour in 2009?
Paramore? I don't know.
Exactly. Like, who played Coachella in 2010? Oh, you don't know? You're not a music fan, Matt.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, so please don't spoil anything from the show for future episodes because Matt doesn't know anything about the story. And
heads up, we're going to be spoiling episode 1. So
we will be spoiling episode 1, which is like
seems like Jordan says Last of Us looks very good, which makes me believe he hasn't seen it yet. And Marcus says, I don't game at all, but I've heard good stuff about the show. It seems kind of hard to adapt a video game into a movie or a show.
Yeah.
We're going to spoil this, guys, so sorry in advance.
Yeah, we're going to discuss the entirety of episode 1. I won't go into any details past episode 1. But we're definitely going to compare and contrast it to the video game. And like, I can point out things that weren't in the game and where we want to also kind of do what Matt thinks is happening compared to what I actually know is happening, which I'm not going to spoil, but I kind of want to see his like newbie perspective on what he thinks is actually happening on the show. So yeah, spoilers for episode 1 of Last of Us starting now. So what did you think?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Like, I like the idea of like a virus being like an infection, like a fungal overtake. I don't know, but it's not really. It's like a attack, I guess, kind of, right? Like it's
So it's like a spore, basically.
Yeah.
They haven't really discussed much in the show, but it's basically a spore that infiltrates your brain.
Right. Spoil away game versus show comparison sounds fascinating. Yeah, so I don't know. It was it basically just it kind of sets the story for like what the hell's going on right now. It seems like there's like all these quarantine stations kind of set up, and this guy, the main guy, Joel, who is what's his name?
Pedro
Pascal. Is working in like trying to find work kind of day to day in this like post-apocalyptic world. I unless I missed it, like I don't, they haven't set like when, like time frame. When is this? Did they?
Yeah, 2023.
2023.
So the beginning of the show starts in the 70s.
Yes.
With the newscast, which basically.
What up, Nike boy?
Nike boy, what's going on?
We're spoiling The Last of Us.
Episode 1. So yeah, the opening is the newscast that's set in the 70s. That's not part of the video game. That's brand new for the show, and basically goes over what the premise of the show is going to be. But this is what actually like Neil Druckmann at Naughty Dog, which is the developer of the game, based the show off, or his idea off of the game off of, was this actual thing that's in nature where this like plant shoots off spores and it infects ants and takes over their minds and makes the ants go crazy and basically attack like other ants, and like they just lose their minds basically. And the whole premise of the game is basically, what if this happened to humans? So the newscast at the beginning is basically like scientists on like some kind of panel television show discussing like infectious diseases and like what could happen, which I'm sure is kind of traumatic for certain people that went through COVID in a really bad way right after COVID. But yeah, so that opening is not in the game, and then the beginning of the actual like show is in 2003, and Joel's like I don't know, 30-ish, right. And his daughter Sarah. This is where the game starts, is like right there, and so like I don't know about you, but like that opening makes me fucking bawl. Like I cried.
So, you mean like that whole sequence that plays out with his daughter?
Yes.
It doesn't make me bawl, because maybe just because I don't really have attachment to any of this. At this point, I just was putting together what was happening. So
yeah, like I mean,
I ended up having to actually watch this twice, because the first time I watched it, I fell asleep, and then the next day I rewatched it so I could like pick up what I missed off.
Sure. Yeah, I can't like get through that opening without crying. It's every time I play the game, I bawl my eyes out. Every time I've watched the opening twice, and both times I just started fucking bawling. For me, it's like super emotional. I mean, basically the premise is in 2003, this like starts happening. So we start where we see his daughter Sarah, who's like, I don't know, a teenager, kind of going through her daily life, and they added a lot for the show. Like none of this is actually.
Yeah, I can imagine that they probably wasn't as fleshed out.
No, like the whole neighbor thing, her going over to her neighbors, her going to school. That's all for the show. Right. Basically, the game is just like her living in the house. Her dad goes to work. You wake up in the middle of the night, your dad's not home, and then like shit's going down in the city.
Do you play as her, at
the start of the game you play as her, and that's like really a part of why it's so like traumatic playing it, right. Is like you think this is your main character, and you start like learning a bit about her, of like, oh, okay, this is my main character, I'm going to play as her. And then as shit starts going down throughout the city and they're trying to escape the city, you see like that house that's on fire as they're driving by it. That's in the game. Her sitting in the back seat, like talking to her uncle Tommy and her dad Joel. That's in the game. And she's like asking what's going on. And like the whole watch thing where she hands him the watch for his birthday, that's in the show. She doesn't go to the watch shop in the game, but that's like the whole compelling part of him having this watch. And 20 years later, but anyway,
add some weight to the watch, right?
Yeah, totally. So as they escape the city anyway, military man is standing there like basically preventing them from leaving the city. Like they've basically quarantined off the city and they're trying to leave, and he gets a call on his radio headset to basically murder them, and so he shoots them and kills Sarah. And Joel survives, but then we flash forward 20 years later and the world's gone. Like they live in a quarantine zone and everything like that, and that's where the main story of the game kicks off, and you play as Joel.
Okay, so questions. I assume, without spoiling, I know you won't spoil it. No. I assume that as we move through, more of the background of like how we got here will be revealed. Yeah?
Not really, unless they've added that for the show. So the storyline of the game basically is the show is following the very similar storyline of like you're living in this quarantine zone and you're doing odd jobs, obviously around the city or whatever, to survive. So you're getting these like food tokens for doing these jobs. So in the show, it's a lot more fleshed out, where you see him like selling drugs to some of these military guys, and like he's throwing bodies in a burning fire, and like you don't do that in the game at all, but you can. Okay. But it is like basically said that he's like kind of like a odd job mercenary type guy that's just doing things around the city to survive. But you know that he's sneaking out to like scavenge and do whatever he has to do outside the city. So so that you start there, and then we have like the military presence, and then we have the Fireflies, and you don't really know what the Fireflies are. but they're like in the show so far, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they've shown them to be basically like an anti-military group that's trying to free people outside of these quarantine areas. But the show basically, or the game basically progresses from there. Like you don't backtrack into the 20-year gap.
Right. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I wonder if they'll do it just to add weight to Joel's character. Like,
well, maybe. I think they may, just because you kind of need a little bit more about Joel and Tommy's relationship, I think.
Yeah.
Although they don't in the game, like that progresses through the story. After a while, you get to know a little bit more through Joel, but it's not, none of this is spoilers. It's just, that's basically like the storyline of it, is like you learn things throughout playing as Joel. But obviously in the show anyway, so he gets like the job of basically transporting this young girl named Ellie. And for some reason her name just like slipped out of my mind all of a sudden. Basically she's a young girl that's probably around the same age of his daughter before she died, and he's to transport her out of Boston into another area. And so it's basically like a mixture of a zombie movie with The Road, very like apocalyptic, two people traveling. We also obviously have Tess, which is like his girlfriend / friend. Yeah. But yeah, so like that's where the story is going to progress. But like I thought, like the budget of the show was phenomenal. Like the way the scenes and like the buildings and like everything inside of the quarantine zone looked, I was like, this is fucking awesome. It's so close to the game.
Cool, that's dope. I mean, yeah, I guess I don't really have anything to like bank on in that regard, but yeah, I thought it looked good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was like kind of a cool introduction to the characters that we're going to be following, and yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm intrigued by the virus or whatever they call it. They don't call it a virus. Cordyceps.
So yeah, in the game it's like a spore, and from what I've heard, they're not doing that in the show. So I don't know exactly how they're going to. It might just be like transmitted through like normal zombie means of like scratches, bites. I'm not sure, but in the show,
I hope that they add a layer to it that isn't just like these are zombies from.
Well, spores. Neil Druckmann, who created the game, along with I can't think of the other guy's name. I can't think of it right now, but it'll come to me. Bruce Straley. Look
at you.
They didn't want it to be like a direct comparison to a zombie thing. Like they definitely like really push that, but Neil Druckmann's like a co-writer on the show. Like he's definitely a huge part of the writing of the show. So I can't see them going directly to like the scratch bite zombie mode. But yeah,
I guess you like the what's it called? What's that Will Smith movie with the zombies but not really zombies?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of the movie.
Fuck. We're good at this. We're good. We're good at podcasting.
I can't think of it, but Will Smith. Yeah, they're fast zombies. They're not zombies, but they're.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Yeah, you could say like Dawn of the Dead remake, like the fast crazy zombies. 28 Days Later, the fast running zombies. Like
28 Days Later is a good one.
I love 28 Days Later. It's one of my favorite movies. But
yeah.
You haven't seen these things yet. Like you haven't seen.
Oh, cool. That's good. I was hoping that was the case too.
Yeah, like the beginning there where you see like the old woman kind of like twitching and shit behind her, and like she's kind of got like that weird like kind of facial stuff. My computer's like yelling at me. I think I just froze.
I can still see you.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, that's like the first stages of like the infection. Like you start losing your mind and like twitchy and going crazy. But like as the virus progresses, it gets way
Does
worse.
It like physically change them? Yes, right? Because it's like there was that cool part where they find the guy that had like all the shit coming out of them, and it's like, ooh, that's like a spawn of some sort, right? It's like a
because it's a fungal infection, the longer you're like survive it and are infected, mushrooms and like fungal growth start coming out of your face.
Crazy. That sounds
so fun. The longer you're infected, the more like fungal you become. So eventually, like, I guess this is a mild spoiler for the next sequel
episode
of the shows,
but
like basically they're called clickers, where the mushroom takes over your entire face and you don't see anymore. You become blind. They make like clicking noises for like echolocation.
Clickers. That sounds fun.
So that's
giant mushroom head. Just
it's freaky as fuck when you see them in the game and you hear them, and I think that's going to become a huge part of the show. But there's even further, like they even progress farther from there. Like this is stage 1. They have like stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. The longer you survive with this fucking infection.
Do we see like the most the most crazy versions in the first game? Like, do we see the most? Cool.
So like, you may see like stage like 3 basically of them, but you'll definitely see the clickers and then like the crazy fucks that are just like newly infected. But
Jordan from Canada says the show has some awesome buzz, not your average video game adaptation. I feel like this could win numerous Emmys or Golden Globes. And he said one streamer was also taken by the fact that this disease in the show was quite believable.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's based off of actual like a thing that's in nature, but
I don't want to be afraid of mushrooms anymore.
Yeah, like people are like freaking out about the whole mushroom thing, man. Like it's struck a nerve in people.
Mushrooms, you can't trust them.
I love mushrooms. I eat mushrooms all the time. Like mushrooms, one of my favorite vegetables.
I also like mushrooms.
But yeah, people are freaking out about it and like don't want to eat them now, I guess. But
The Last of Us is gonna single-handedly kill the mushroom industry.
I hope so. That'd be funny.
Bye.
But no, I think this show could definitely win awards. Like the production value, the storyline is excellent. It's, in my opinion, the best storyline in video games.
Nice.
It's my favorite video game of all time. The sequel is actually.
We have some good stuff to look forward to this season, don't we?
Yeah. I can't wait as the show progresses. Early.
Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I have to answer this call really quick. I don't have to leave, but hang on.
Yeah, go nuts. As long as you want it on air. But yeah, so like the storyline is definitely going to progress. This is 9 episodes this season, and they have already said that it's going to cover the entirety of the first game. So if you've played the game, you're definitely going to see everything from the first game, and I assume that it's going to do well enough to earn a second season because it's the second highest viewed thing on HBO in like 20 years. So
second highest viewed on HBO in 20 years, you said?
The only thing that's like got higher viewage on, I don't know if it's HBO or HBO Max, but it was the return of Game of Thrones, like the new, whatever the new season is.
House of Dragons or
whatever? House of Dragons, yeah. I don't watch Game of Thrones or the new series, so I don't know anything. But yeah, so I guess that beat it, but like this got like, I think 6 million or 7, something like that. 5 million, 6 million people watched it. So, crazy. Which is really good for a show in 2023. But yeah, it's I can't wait to see the rest of the show. I know they're definitely going to add a lot of character growth and stuff for the show. So
cool. Jordan from Canada says, Last of Us started a trend of father figures protecting their youth. I feel it totally influenced the change in story God of War and even Hugh Jackman's Logan movie. Yeah, so the problem with PlayStation now is I'm a huge gamer. So this, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys actually game, but a lot of games felt like they took elements out of The Last of Us and used it for their game. And God of War is definitely one of them. Like God of War is father-son instead of father-daughter. That's only is that the second one or the first? Like, has it always been that, or is it just the second one that was like that?
The first, well, there's 6 of them now. So the original 4 series of the games, the main story games, were just Kratos as like an angry god killing other gods, basically. The new 2 games are basically Kratos has had a son, and he's now the angry god that's trying to raise his son.
Baby Kratos.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want his son to follow in his footsteps, so it's basically that, like, dichotomy between, you know, not teaching your son your problems, you know, don't carrying on that tradition of using your anger to solve your problems, basically
slaughtering everyone.
Right. Yes. So that's the main story of the new, like, 2 God of War games, but
gotcha.
They definitely pulled that from Last of Us. Like, Last of Us did bonkers numbers for PlayStation. Now the sequel was way less well received. Like, it's definitely a mixed reception for that game. Me personally, I think it's phenomenal, but a lot of people did not like it. So, but that was also because of gender and sexuality things that they use in that game, where a lot of people were like, we don't need this in our games because we want everybody to be a white man.
Right.
It's like, go fuck yourself. So, yeah. But yeah,
I concur with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed it, because I was very worried that, like, I was like, oh, if this isn't up Matt's alley, like, we're gonna have a problem for the next 9 weeks.
No, it was good. I mean, even if we don't, I'll still go through it. It's cool. Something to talk about, and unless it like really starts fucking bombing real bad. But
so the early previews of the show from people that got all 9 episodes are saying that episode 3 is like fucking phenomenal, like one of the best episodes of television in years.
Oh wow, cool.
So you have that to look forward to. They didn't spoil anything, so I don't know what episode 3 consists of at all, but they're definitely also supposed to, there's like downloadable content for the first game that wasn't like part of the main story, but then after the game came out, they did like an extra like 2-hour segment of the game.
Okay.
And that's supposed to be incorporated into the show as well, so I assume we're gonna get some flashbacks.
Cool.
But yeah, like, I love Ellie. Like, Ellie's one of my favorite characters in fiction, and Bella Ramsey does not look like the character in any way. Like, when she was first casted, I was a little disappointed in that regard, but I thought she did a really good job. Like, she did justice to the character for sure, and I'm excited to see her character grow and build throughout the series. So
that part where he's on the couch and she's talking to him about what am I supposed to do or whatever, like, I saw like a side-by-side thing with the game, and it's like exactly the same. It's crazy. That's crazy.
So, like, her being chained up and stuff by the Firefly people, that's not in the game at all. You basically meet, I can't think of her name, but the black woman there's the leader of the Fireflies there. You basically meet up with her, and she basically says, like, Joel, here's this girl, and we'll pay you with.
And then Joel picks her up and it goes, do 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 do.
That'd be amazing if it was Zelda. But no, in the game, it's actually for guns. She's gonna give them a bunch of guns and weapons, and in the show, they're looking for a truck with a battery to go rescue his brother. So
that's another thing that I thought was really cool, is like everyone's just it's all about batteries and like just trying to be able to move around.
Well, even like when he was selling drugs to the military guy, he wanted his like Ziploc bag back, because who knows where you're gonna find another one, right?
Yeah.
Last 2 God of War games are 5 stars from Jordan from Canada. Yeah, they're excellent. They're both excellent. I like the first one better than the second one, but The Last of Us has a lot going against it. You'd think people would be zombie exhausted after The Walking Dead. Video game movies are notorious for underperforming, but Tilu endures. Thoughts? That was my worry, was that Walking Dead just went on for 7 seasons too long.
Yeah.
And definitely zombie fatigue. Like, I burned out on that show around season 7, I think, and I think it went on for another 5 seasons.
Yeah.
There's spin-offs, there's like all the shit going on with Walking Dead. So I was definitely worried like people wouldn't tune into this, like, oh fuck, it's another Walking Dead, like, I'm not interested, but it did really well, so I'm glad. Like I said, it's kind of different. They're not zombies necessarily, so Tilu kind of has its own segment of the market of, like, it's not necessarily just like, you know, zombies are.
I like Tilu. That's a good.
Yeah, well, that's
I know
a lot of people call it Tilu Part 2. The rumors are that they're now working on a Part 3 video game, so I'm assuming this is going to end up being 3 season show.
Cool.
but the second game's actually like way longer than the first game, like almost doubled in length. So I could see them
maybe they could stretch that out,
breaking that into 2 seasons.
Totally.
Because they had a trouble, I guess, adapting this into only 9 episodes. Like they thought it might be longer, but they didn't want to drag it out. So
right. That's probably a good thing.
No, I agree. I guess like this first episode was originally 2 episodes, and that's why it's so long.
I'm glad that they didn't do that, because I feel like this was a good amount to get through in the first bit. So
yeah, so that's why it's 9 episodes, not 10, is because this was supposed to be 2 separate episodes, and they just merged them so that you got like what the story was going to be in the first episode.
I think that's smart, and that's better that they did that. So
yeah, I'm very excited to see like what you think as this series goes on, and like there's some like moments in the game that like I hope that they do in the show, because they're just beautiful emotional moments, and I don't know how it's going to translate from game to show, but like I really think like there's moments where you're going to really appreciate, and I think it's going to pull on your heartstrings at some point. I'm amazed.
That wouldn't surprise me, because I can easily have my heartstrings pulled on when I watch Pedro Pascal as Mando playing with Grogu. So I'm sure that there will be levels here where I'll be like, it'll be emotional, I'm sure. Especially if they continue to do such a good job kind of showing us who Joel is, right? Like I feel like we got a bit of it this episode, but you know, hopefully they'll continue to fill us in on what he's all about, right? So
yeah. Well, you just see that like right now it's, you know, a very tough exterior. Like I've had to survive 20 years in this like apocalypse Joel, and the character definitely progresses from there. So like I think it's going to pull on your heartstrings at some point. I'm surprised the first episode didn't make you cry, because I was fucking bawling.
Yeah, it didn't, but that's okay. Jordan from Canada says, another streamer I watched had a keen point about camera angles used in the game that were replicated to a T on the show. Did you guys notice that? I didn't, because I don't play. So I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely have definite moments directly.
Like it's like ripped. Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's kind of cool though.
Oh, it's awesome, and it's hard to do, because like so many adaptations from games have been so bad.
Yeah,
and it's hard to translate what you're doing interacting with a game into a show. Like a lot of The Last of Us in the game, like you're going through cabinets and collecting like items to build gun ammo, or like Molotov cocktails. Like you're collecting like bits and pieces of different things, and then there's like a in-game like manufacturing kind of thing where you can like, oh, I have empty bottle plus gasoline plus rag, I can make a Molotov cocktail.
That's cool.
So like when things are attacking you, oh, I got a Molotov, I can throw this, whatever. Or like you can make like a lock pick, basically. So there's locked doors throughout the game where you go, oh, now I can unlock this because I have a lock pick.
Yeah.
And there'll be like more items within that, like ammo or another gun or whatever within the game. Now, how do you translate to a show? Like you're not going to show him, you know, collecting, oh, I found a drawer full of nuts and bolts and I'm going to make a gun out of that. Like it wouldn't translate, but like I hope that they show, like, in order to survive, I need to, we found a gun room in an empty house and I'm going to steal the ammo from this house, kind of thing, to like carry us on, or food or water or whatever like you would need as a human. So I think there's elements you can take from the game and kind of change them, alter them a little bit, but still make it similar and not change it enough that people are going to be upset, like, oh, you fucking ruined this, you know?
Right. I think as long as whatever they add to it doesn't make it worse, they should be okay. I feel like people only squawk when the new stuff doesn't live up to the old stuff.
Totally. And like so far, I mean, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal are just killing it with their acting, and they're in the way they deliver the characters, and the dialogue and everything like that is very well written. So I mean, yeah, it could drop off a fucking cliff, and by episode 5, I'm like, oh no, what did they do? But I don't think.
How did we get here?
Yeah, exactly. I just can't see that happening.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I guess there's an official podcast that they're doing for The Last of Us episode by episode with like the creators and stuff. So if people are interested in more than what you got out of this, that's available. There's a lot of different podcasts that are doing, reviews of the episodes, episode by episode, and like introspectives on it. So the more content you want, it's out there.
It's available.
But I definitely recommend playing the game. Like, you'd be silly not to.
Jordan from Canada said, one streamer I watched had an awesome take on the mentality you need to have to live in that time. You got to be savage. Split second ability to kill to survive. Yeah, I would last like 5 seconds in that place.
Yeah, same. I mean, you see that right at the
I'm
beginning.
like the last person you want on your team in a zombie apocalypse. Last person.
You're the last person you want on a team in any game because you have no competitive angle whatsoever. You're just like, oh,
they would be like eating me, and I'd be like, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty sure I tasted good all along. So go.
This is not surprising to me. Yeah. Like I assumed that I was probably flavorful.
You'd be there smoking a joint while the zombie's eating your arm. This is really fucked up, man. Oh, that hurts.
Man, I'm super stoned. Feel like the zombie's eating my arm. It is eating your arm. Oh man,
that's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, you see that mentality at the beginning of the show when that you see that kid running into like the town basically, and you don't know what exactly happened to him, and then you see him dead in the truck. You just see his shoes, and the woman he's working with is like, I can't throw another body into this fire, like I can't do a kid. And Joel just picks it up and is like, whatever, see ya.
Yep, like dump her in.
He's just lost the emotional impact of what death does to you, because you would after 20 years of living in
of that
apocalypse. Like, you'd have to turn that off. You couldn't.
The thing is at that point only it's like Jordan said, like it takes a certain type to survive, and the ones who can't live with that kind of stuff, if they last, it's out of luck.
It's kill or be killed, and it's. You can't get emotional, and if somebody's infected, you're gonna have to fucking kill them, or you're gonna die too. So it's like there's no emotional attachment anymore. Things come and go very quickly, probably, and you just gotta chill with that. So
you just gotta chill with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I think it's a 10 out of 10 show so far, and I mean,
it's not a 10 out of 10 for me, but I still liked it. It's probably like a 8 out of 10, maybe.
That's fair. I mean,
7.5.
I
think it'll get better. I don't think it was bad by any means.
Yeah.
I think it's different when you have attachment to it.
Totally. And you don't know where it's going yet, so you can't. You don't have the full encompassing scope of the show. Yeah. But I mean, to me, it's like
I still recommend it. If an outsider who hasn't played it was gonna watch it, I think it was a strong start. So
that, and like, there's nothing else on television right now. Like,
that's it. You're stuck with this for the next 9 weeks.
You have football and you have this, and to me it's like, I mean, I'm watching football every weekend, but
you would.
This is like top-notch television. Like, if you told me 15 years ago that this is where television was going to get, where they're basically movies, like high-budget movies,
that part is pretty cool for sure.
Yeah, you would never have gotten this, on network television in 2005. Like, it wouldn't have happened.
The Cosby Show.
Yeah, well, that was pretty high budget. But yeah, that's The Last of Us. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Tomorrow's going to be great because a new episode comes out.
I probably won't get to watch it till midweek again, but
yeah, okay. I know you're busy, but that's fine. I mean,
oh yeah, I want Mario movie too. I'm excited.
I'll probably see it. I mean, I'm not like overly excited for it, but I loved Mario growing up, and I was a huge NES guy, so yeah, I hope it's great. I hope it's funny, and the animation looks good. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It doesn't look cheaply done or anything. So,
like me.
Yeah, you're definitely cheaply done.
I'm very cheaply done.
$3.99 back alley.
Just call me Cricket.
I
don't have to do mouse stuff, do I? All right.
I love Cricket.
Me too.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's our thoughts on Last of Us. I hope everybody checks it out and plays the game and Naughty Dog all their monies. But that's going to do it for this episode. What are you doing on Whip Wednesday this week?
Well, if anybody didn't watch Whip Wednesday this past week, it's my most viewed Whip Wednesday ever so far, and it hasn't even been a week yet. I had Prime to the First and Figure Fan Nate from the Figure Booth on, and it was very fun. And I say like a lot, but I don't care because like
it's hard not to.
It's just who I am. That's just how I talk. So I guess I'm trying to not like make a big deal out of it, but definitely say like a lot.
When you hear yourself talk back, like if I ever listen to the podcast back just to make sure like everything's good when it goes to podcast feeds or anything like that, it's weird hearing your own voice. You notice the things you say repetitively throughout like an hour way more. Like you don't notice in normal conversation, but when you say like 37 times, you go, man, that's fucking annoying. Why do I say like so much? Like you just don't notice it though.
Yeah, but I also
it is what it is.
So then I'm just like, whatever. I got to hang out and chat with my friends, and it was fun. So yeah, it was good times. Totally. It was really fun. But yeah, this week I am going to be starting new projects because, I'm not. I'm going to go back to projects that I have kind of started and didn't finish. So
put on the back
doing Age of Apocalypse, Banshee, and Dazzler. That's what I'll be working on. So
nice.
Yeah, man.
No guests this week.
No guests this week, and then the week after that, I'm actually going to have Chris and Dee from Astonishing News and Reviews, and we're going to do some live customizing, the three of us. So Alvin won't be able to make it, but Chris and Dee can make it. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. But that'll be February 6th or February 8th. I'm actually going to take February 1st week off because I have some stuff happening that I won't be able to make it happen. So yeah,
hey, that's all right, man. Life
so next week. Next week is I'm doing customizing by myself, then a week off, and then I have Chris and Dee. And then the week after that, I have This Week in Customs with Brock, Life with Brock. It's like an old YouTube channel that was like super popular. And he did like weekly reviews and like what was happening in the custom world. So he's agreed to come on and do that show on Whip Wednesday with me. Should be really
awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
And then I'm on the following week.
And then you're on the following week for my birthday.
Birthday stream.
Yeah, nipples out.
The only way to do it, blast these babies, man.
Blast these babies.
Gotta blast his nips. Right. It's all about the nips and nips. Yeah, your Jericho and Warbird were excellent.
Dude, I love this Warbird. I'm pretty sad I have to give her away. It's disappointing.
The Jericho is dope too, though.
I like Jericho, but Jericho's less impressive because I didn't really do that much.
You just
this one is
you swapped pieces and whatever, but that's beautiful, man. That's a job well done.
I love this one. And I really love the one that my secret project that I can't share. I'm very happy with it right now.
I can't wait to see it, man.
This would be good.
Hell yeah.
Forward to it.
All right. So if you're not following Matt, you can go over to his YouTube channel.
We can do this.
Yep. YouTube.com/@customs-by-Matthew. That's the same on Instagram. Please follow us. Give us the likes. Give us the comments. You can get the podcast on podcast services. Help the show grow now that we're on YouTube and we actually have mics and sound like humans.
You just said grow.
Sure did. Yeah. And we will catch you next Saturday for episode 2 of The Last of Us. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out in the comments and chatting. And yeah, bye, thanks, Matt.
Thank you guys, as always, for being here. Appreciate you.
Cheers, buddy.
Pierce.